Hello. It's been a while since this type of video was made. Let me just go ahead and check my channel to see when the last time I did an actual normal video was. Not counting the channel updates, it's been a long ass time for the Pokemon update discussion. But yeah, this is now essentially going to be a yearly thing at this point. The Pokemon Day videos. So just a couple things with this. I want to keep this real short, including this intro section. I don't want it to be the combined hour that, let's say, last year's was. But also there was some news for some things. I was debating putting that in a separate video, but I'm just going to do that here. So, yeah, welcome to the Pokemon Day video. Just like last year, this will be separated into two parts. That being the major stuff that could be announced or shown, and the minor stuff that could be announced or shown. Minor is side games, mobile games, events, and all that. Major is like the big game we'll get at the end of the year, or the introduction or announcement of a new spin-off or something. So like Pokemon Pocopia, now that it's almost coming out, is going to be part of this minor section. But if another one got announced, that would, I think, be part of, I guess, the major section. If like basically the talking about what could be shown there and what couldn't. And also with this one, I'm trying to keep this under 2 minutes. We'll be doing it a little different. The first part is usually the major stuff. This time, the first part will be the minor stuff. And then we'll get to the major stuff next part, which will then lead us into Pokemon Day because of how this is getting posted. This is getting posted. Part 1 is Wednesday, part 2 is Thursday. So then the Friday that Pokemon Day is, it would just lead right into the stream and whatever gets announced, and then everything else. So, to start off with, and I actually did pull up Sarah because actually a lot has happened since the last time I've talked about Pokemon at all. So yeah, this year is their 30th. 30th anniversary, pretty big deal, so it makes sense that they be going all in. So I guess we can start not with the trailers and stuff. They did some trailers. Their current campaign is what is your favorite or something. I'm gonna try and see if I can find it. Yeah, what's your favorite? Basically in an effort to get people to to gain more traction, to get people to talk about their favorite Pokemon and everything, and why it is what it is. So that's like a basic part of what they're doing. Then they also have some let's talk about events. So actually the events actually do have something new. With the events, they've announced something called Pokemon Day Out and Pokemon Night Out. They actually have really cool logos, to the point where if they didn't say that these were just the events, I would have, I could see people thinking that these could have been like new games, maybe not new major games, but new games. And they really did make some cool logos. They're going to be on the screen right now. But essentially, there are events going to be held throughout the year that are titled either Pokemon Day Out or Pokemon Night Out. Day Out are more family-oriented, more casual-oriented activities. And then Night Out is fun surprises for longtime Pokemon fans. Now, they don't have any dates for anything. But yeah, that's going to be a thing that they're doing throughout the year. And I could definitely see the first of both, either one of or both of these events. I can see us getting news for both of them. Pokemon Day. Just because, this is all like the run up. Then we got the start, which is Pokemon Day, February 27th of this year. And then from there, we would get all the stuff leading up to the end of the year. So I can definitely see us getting news for at least one of these that day. As to what they can entail, I don't exactly know. This plus the fan event that's happening for the World Championships this year, because they're doing that. It was Pokemon Expo, I guess you would call it. Yeah, so they're doing more in person events, which is a good thing. I'm, despite the fact that I really just don't go outside at all, I am kind of miffed that I probably won't be able to join in on any of these. But yeah, so those are going to be happening, and in tandem with this, Go has promotion for this, so you take pictures with your favorite Pokemon, and you get a bunch of stuff in game. In terms of Go, I don't think there's really going to be much else. I mean, they've been doing a lot of like events and stuff that highlight certain Pokemon, so they're probably just going to do that again, especially since I think they recently did a major update for Go that involved things. That involves some new Pokemon, like updating the Pokedex and stuff, so I don't know if it's going to be happening that soon. Let's see, what else? Pokemon Masters is actually part of the reason why I decided I was going to make this the way that I did, because usually it's like a pretty good, like a pretty guaranteed thing that Masters will be there. It's one of their more popular, or at least it was one of their more popular games. I think right behind Go, probably. That game is actually just starting. It's both its run up to the 30th anniversary and its run up to its, what is this, 7.5, 7.5, because they celebrate every half anniversary and every full anniversary. But yeah, so they're celebrating both at the same time, so we're getting a bunch of stuff in that game. You know, Brock and Misty got Arc Suits, which is something it's the current thing that's happening in Masters right now. They have a bunch of events. I think I just got off the game, and I think even the daily rewards are doubled for when you do the daily missions and stuff. But yeah, so with all that being said, and them adding to the current story mode of the game, I don't see, just like with Go, I don't see there being anything major. Maybe like a good amount of items or money for the game when the presentation happens. But other than that, I'm not entirely sure that there would be much of anything, because like Go, a lot of their stuff would likely be lead up to it. And that's how it's going to be for a lot of everything that isn't games, that isn't like console games. You know, TCG has been releasing stuff repeatedly. I think, let me see, recently, I know one released recently. I'm trying to find it. I have Sarah be up. I'm trying to, I don't see it, but you know, there was some, there was an announcement for TCG. I just can't find it right now. Actually, let me check the press site. Let me see. Okay. Ascended Heroes came out a bit ago, and then they, at the Toy Fair 2026, they announced some Pokemon TCG stuff themed around the opening scene from the very first games. We got some Lego Pokemon stuff, a bunch of their keychain and plushies just in general, and then the 30th anniversary Pokemon Day collection is also a thing for TCG. But like I said, a lot of this stuff is lead up stuff. Now, the final thing that we'll be talking about, that we know about for sure, is the games part for the small start. So Scarlet and Violet, nothing's really happening there. We are currently in the middle of our rerun for all the starter raids, which is fantastic for me, even though I'm likely waiting till around May, because the only raid that I'm missing now is that Greninja. So I'll get back on there and fight one, because they only last a week. I'll get back on there and fight one of the ones that I've got already every once in a while. But I'm really just waiting for that Greninja so that I can capture it, and then I'll have every 7-star Pokemon that Scarlet and Violet has ever released. But yeah, so nothing's really happening with Scarlet and Violet there. I don't think we'll see anything with Scarlet and Violet at Pokemon Day 2026. If we do, it's something small like another outfit. I don't see it. I don't see them doing anything with that now. Scarlet and Violet hasn't gotten anything major for what, by December of this year it'll have been 2 years, I think. No, 3, because the DLC was this year it's already been 3. Or no, 2. It's been 2. Because the epilogue for Scarlet and Violet was January of 24. So by the end of this year, it'll basically have been 3. So I don't see them doing all that much for it at this point. I could be wrong, I could not be, but I just don't see it happening. At this point, we are firmly in Legends ZA. Speaking of Legends ZA, there have been a bunch of rumors about stuff. I don't exactly know what we could see. All I do know is that I'm fairly certain that we are going to be halfway, if not most of the way through the Mega Blaziken season 7 of ZA's official ranked online, and we'll talk about whatever the hell I think is happening at the end of the year. But we'll talk about that for the second part, for me in a little bit, but for you guys the second part. Even if there is something this year, I do firmly believe there will be something this year, but regardless of if there is or not, we still have ZA for another 8 months, 7 at minimum, and potentially another 1.5 years at most, just to be safe. So, there has to be more involved with the games that we have. I said I didn't think Scarlet and Violet was going to get anything because at this point, Scarlet and Violet hasn't actually gotten anything for the last 2 years. But ZA is the one game that, we literally just got that one. It's been a little bit more time between ZA's release and this Pokemon Day than usual. Usually it's around 3.5 months instead of the 4.5. 4.5 months that it's been since ZA's original launch. But if anything was going to get something to help us get there, it would be ZA most likely. Now, what that would be, I don't know. I've heard rumors about a lot of stuff, from a free title update, much like what Legends Arceus has, or even another out of nowhere season that adds more megas for another set of starters for some reason. I don't know, right? Because as it stands, there's quite literally, barring, I think I heard rumors of a Mega Garchomp Z. Assuming that's real, which it actually, looking at how things have been going, it probably is. Barring that, there isn't anything else they can do to really entice people to actually play the ranked mode after that. And that season will likely only last 3 weeks, because every other season only lasted 3 weeks, barring the Greninja. I think the Greninja was a month. And since you can continuously get every other one, there's no point in rerunning the other ones, right? Because even if you've missed everything up to this point, if you can join during the Blaziken season, during Season 7, you will, in order to get Blaziken, you have to get every other one, because you get every other Mega Stone that they've had as prizes at every rank up until the one that you're aiming for, which is S. So you're trying to get the Blazikenite. Well, you've got the Greninjaite, the Delphoxite, the Chestnutite, the Excaliburite, the Swamperdite, the Sceptilite. Like you got all of them. If you go that route, so there's no way for them to rerun it. Like there's really, like, you basically just can't. And there's nothing else that we know of after Blaziken, barring that Garchomp thing. And even then, that's only going to take us to like when is that? Like early April, maybe late April at the latest. Now, like I said, what if they're doing anything else? I don't know. They might be aiming for having the next thing I'll talk about be that gap filler. But I do know that ZA is the thing poised. At least the main game we have that's poised to just be our current game, obviously, but it bears repeating. Now, like I said, the next thing I have to talk about could be, and is most likely to be our stand-in till the end of the year. That being Pokemon Pocopia. Now, there's a lot. There's simultaneously a lot and not all that much to talk about, and here's why. In terms of news, it got a lot, but in terms of what they could show on Pokemon Day, right? Because I've been talking about a lot of this in preparation for Pokemon Day. You know, Legends ZA could get maybe one or two small things. Scarlet and Violet even less so, but it could also get like an outfit or something. Pokemon Pocopia is almost certainly getting a trailer. And then it also got, but like it's getting a trailer most likely, but it's hard to tell what would be in it, because we got a lot of the stuff that would have been in the next trailer we could have gotten for the game in the previews that we just got like a week ago. This thing was actually the reason why I was thinking about making a news video. And so they've been talking about a lot of stuff. Most recently they talked about a Cloud Island. So a place that people who don't have a place that people who don't have the game can be if they're playing it without the host, I think. Or like what was it? Hold on. I'll get this sorted out. But the point is that Pokemon Pocopia got a lot of news recently, and it was mainly like first impressions and stuff. People got escorted to try the game. All positive from what I can understand. There's a mission system. Most of your UI and most of what you're using to acquire Pokemon, like get them to spawn and create habitats for them, is in the Pokedex that you're carrying around. They mentioned missions, so you might have to do some missions for some Pokemon in order to have them join you. It is honestly kind of like a normal Pokemon game, except you substitute the battling aspect with building aspects. I think that's interesting, and I've already purchased mine, so I don't like it's really just not. It's interesting, and I'm playing it, but there's not really much else to say about that. Like, we could get into specifics, like how moves all have a PowerPoint meter, and you can't just spam stuff, including the transformations like the Dragonite and the Lapras. Each area is more like Legends Arceus, where it's a big area, but they're still closed. So in order to get to other places, you do have to most likely fast travel through a menu, much like Legends Arceus did. And there isn't really much to say about the story, which is partially why I'm thinking it might have something to do with that, because there is a story for this. There is a lore for this. And that's pretty much the only thing we haven't seen so far, because I'm fairly certain we've only seen the first area, let's say, maybe first 2. We don't know how many areas there will be. I've heard rumors of like 5 or so, which would make sense, because again, Legends Arceus had that as well, so that seems like a good number. But I think the only thing, other than seeing some new areas, would likely be the lore and story part of it. That would likely be the only thing that they could do, both because, well, realistically, there isn't a whole lot left new, other than, the environments and spoiling some of the missions. And I think after Pokemon Day, the game literally comes out like a week after. Yeah, Pokemon Day, and then like 6 days after Pokemon Pocopia releases. So even if there was a lot more that they could do without ruining certain things for people, there isn't a lot of time for that. But yeah, so that's all that we were likely going to see in terms of other stuff. Pokemon Pocopia is definitely going to be there. ZA might have something. Scarlet and Violet most likely won't get anything, but if it does, it's going to be small. We're going to see a bunch of TCG stuff, and them talking about their opening scene stuff, their 30th anniversary stuff. Same thing with Go and Masters and all the mobile games. TCG Pocket is also... I didn't talk about that one because it's basically just Master. In terms of what it will likely get, it's mainly Masters. It's already doing its 30th anniversary stuff, most likely. If it's not already, it's going to by the time this comes out, so I don't really see there being much. In fact, yeah, Pokemon Day is around when they would, I think it's around when they would advertise, or at least start advertising a new expansion for it. So yeah, so that'll likely happen there as well. And we'll probably get some stuff about the events that they're holding this year. Other than that, that's about it for all of that. So yeah, and we're now, the next thing up, the next video for you, next part for me, is going to be what we'll be seeing later this year. Things have leaked, but I'm going to try to keep it as vague as possible, especially outside of that section. So hopefully, you'll come back for that one. Later. Just to add on here, right? This is an add-on. Real quick. Today, like I think actually at like 3 in the morning, today on the 20th, which is now exactly a week before Pokemon Day, the Pokemon Company International put up the trailer for Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green are being put on the eShop. They will be available a little after the Pokemon Presents on Pokemon Day. They're both $20 individually. I think that they're worth that much. Because like Kanto's never been my favorite, but I would say, especially given that it's Fire Red and Leaf Green that has like the Sevii Islands and everything, I think that seems pretty cool. Maybe a little overpriced, maybe like around 15 or so. But I think that around makes sense, I would say. But yeah, I'm doing this because we know we're going to see that then. Because they have to bring attention to it, most likely at the bare minimum. Probably not like a trailer, because they've already put that out. But, and this wasn't an accident, because it's been 30 minutes. I'm at 4 a.m. right now. It's been like 40-ish minutes since the trailer came out, and it hasn't taken down. And also, the way that the description's worded makes it sound like it's supposed to be out. Maybe not at 3 a.m., but definitely before Pokemon Day. So, yeah, we'll likely see that there. as well. Another add-on just now. So on top of Fire and Leaf Green, they also have just outright announced the Pokemon Day Presents. Obviously, that was going to happen. It's going to be, what did they say? It says it's going to be 25 minutes long. So, yeah. And also, they have one more thing that I didn't get to talk about. I forgot to. That being Pokemon Champions. That's definitely coming pretty soon, mainly because it's replacing the mainline series games this year at Worlds. So that has to come out. What did I say? I said I think it has to come out around March, April, May-ish. Because I feel like having it come out in June and then expecting everyone to be ready with it by August, because that's when Worlds happens, doesn't make too much sense. So I feel like that has to happen within the next 3 months. But yeah, that'll be there. I'm personally just hoping for a mode where I can create teams and battle against each of them. Like essentially like a player versus CPU thing, but where I can make both teams. I don't know if that's going to be a thing, or at the very least I can give the CPU a team that I make, but I'd love for that, so that I can simulate battles and stuff. And if it's not in, we could probably ask about it maybe eventually. If that is a thing that they'd want to do, it could come eventually if it's not in the base game. But yeah, Pokemon Champions, I'm actually kind of looking forward to that one. And honestly, I'm surprised I forgot about it. But yeah, that's also part of this. I don't know where this is going to be put in the video. If it's at the end, then I'll see you around for part 2, because this is going into part 1. And yeah, see you tomorrow.